Today, I'm gonna explain how to make material button types using Framer X. It means you can build the design system component using Framer X because you can add controls of text and you can add some types of button. Let's start from the left side. In the code panel, click this new button and type the component name. I'm gonna name it as material button. Simply drag and drop to the canvas and edit code. Because I prefer the VS Code, I'm gonna using this one. First thing that I'm going to do is control this frame. The documentation of Framer, they had a very good example of how to add controls to your component. Copy and paste these parts, paste it to here, and change this my component to component name. And add this on imported functions and values from Framer, and that's it. Save it. And you can see the contours of the right panel when you click this component, and you can change it. As you see, there's nothing happened because I didn't use this property in my component. Remove unusing things. When you check the props at here, I'm using this window value to making logs, checking the properties of this component. After I add the controls, you could see this text that I changed before at here. Hi. This prop's going to high. Yeah, that's quite cool because it's object. So you can access this property using that. And you should add this bracket because it's a variable, not just a string. So props.text. As you see, there's the text property that I added with graphic components. This is the default value of component, so I'm gonna change this button. And when I remove this one and add this one to here, the default value of this property is going to button. Yeah, that's it. And the next thing that I'm going to do is add the type controls of this button. When you check this documentation of material design, there are 3 types of buttons. First one is text. It's simple. You can see the text basically with the colors, and you can see these interactions. Second one is outlined. There's a line outside of button. It also has some interactions the same as this text button. Third one is this contained button. Fill background and white color of text, and there's some hover animation with box shadow. There's also interaction like the other buttons. And as the same as adding this text control, you could do the same on the left side. You can name the property of this control. I will name it as type. And the default type is text. And then I'm gonna use enum controls like a drop down. Change the name of property type, and default value goes to text. And options is text and outlined and contained. This is the titles that shows up this control panel. Name it as you want. I'm gonna initialize only the first character option. There are options, text, outlined, contained. When you check this property, props, you can see the type, like this one, text. And you can change this title, like the text property. I'm gonna initialize the first error over this control, and it changed. That's it. When you change the type to outline, it's gonna have the outlined property as type. And now, you can separate styles by this type. You can do this one using if-else operator. Let me show how to do this one. If props type text return this frame, and else if prop type going to outline return this one. Change this style quickly. Finally, contained. I'm gonna change this background as green. Now you can see if you have this text type, just the sky blue background, but outline, it's going to have a red background. If you have this contain as a type, it's going to green background. You can change the style by this type. And I'm gonna add this text to align these elements. Yep, that's good. I'm gonna copy and paste this image from the docs. I'm gonna making this text type button style. Font size, maybe 16. Color, this violet code. it doesn't have background, so I'm gonna add this empty value as background. Width and height going to 93 and 36. Make this one as 100% because I want to this component gonna follow the contour. When you expand this button going to be as following the contour. I can add some font family. fonts.google.com. You can add this web font. Simply click and customize your options. I'm gonna using this kind of font weight. Add this CSS at here. Fonts. And you can import the CSS directly to this button. Finally, you can add this robot value as font family. Yep, that's nice. You can change some font weight. I'm gonna make it smaller. That has better spacing. Yep, almost same. Complete the text type button style. And I'm gonna add this outline style. Maybe you can copy and paste these styles to here because it's almost same one. And make same width and height. You can change the width and height as default props. I'm gonna add outline at here. That's only the difference from text. In the CSS, outline means border. Border on pixel and solid, and maybe it has some gray color. Yes, it has outline, but I could add some border radius on the edge of the button. Radius is 4. It's almost same as this outline button. You can add styles of this content type. Copy and paste here. I'm gonna change this background as this is violet color. Background. The font color is white and there's no border. Yeah, that's the last one. And now I'm going to add some interactions. Some hover or some tapping, kind of that things. First, the hover interaction. Let me check this hover. As you can see in this example, it just changed this background, not animate. So we are not need to using some framer or some transition of CSS because it just only want to change this background when user on their mouse. So I'm gonna using some state of React, and you can change the state to reload the components with new state. Make a state called hover. Make a new function set hover. The initial value of this state is false. Add this mouse center event, add arrow function, making hover to true. And on mouse leave, this is the counterpart to this on mouse center event. So I'm gonna make hover first. Yeah, you can check this hover value at here. Maybe it's gonna change when user going to mouse on and mouse out. Yeah, and when user repeat their actions, the result is the same. And you can use this hover value to change this background. If you want to use this variable, you should cap your codes using this bracket. It's the rules of React. If user going to hover, the background going to this light violet. And if user not going to hover out of the button, background going to empty value. Yeah, let me check. Hover, yes, there's light violet background. And when user going to leave their button, the background going to empty value. Like outline has almost the same hover interaction. So you can on mouse enter and mouse leave to change the hover state, change this background like this one. It makes same. Yep. And I'm gonna delete this. I'm using rows. Finally, this button makes a little bit different animation. When user on their mouse, there's box shadow animation and there's background animation, but the trigger is the same. Changing the hover state. I can add some background, the same as the other one. So when you on your mouse to this button, it changes like this one. In box shadow, it has default box shadow like this. So if it has hover state as true, it's going to have this box shadow value. Yes, there's box shadow. It has little amount of time, as I mentioned. So you should add some transition value of CSS because box shadow is not animated yet with the Framer library. So you can add this simple transition CSS thing in your style. And add this transition, you can see the animation of this button. And maybe we can add the border radius to here. Yep, it's exactly same as hover interaction. And the tapping interaction, it's called as a ripple effect. You can make some little circle that has zero scale, and you can scale double or triple that expanded following the button. And I'm gonna make a little component called circle. First circle and return little frame things. Maybe you can add some name to easily identifying this is a circle. And maybe it has to be this. This is just example amount, so you can change it if you want it. Or the radius. I can add some background using types, because as you see when you click this button, these two circle frame have the same thicker violet color, but click this one, it's lighter background color. So you can separate this background color using this type. If it is contained, it's gonna be lighter. And it's not contained, it's a bit thicker. Add this circle here. Yep, it's a different color because this type is contained. And make alignment with this text and circle using center. And you can make this text as a frame because the circle is also a frame. So this text should be frame. And add some base values to this frame and change order. Yep, that's cool. Now you can add some overflow property as hidden. Yep, that's cool. It has a circle crop that's following the edge of button. I can make same things to other types of button. Overflow hidden. Yep, that's cool. And from now, you can make interaction for this circle when you click this button. First, you can add this property called the initial. I'm gonna scale down because I don't want to cover our button with this circle at the first time. Making the scale is 0. You can see this circle because the scale is 0. To animate this circle, use the animation anim with animation. Add it to here. And now you can use this hook to make animate. Add on tap event trigger. Add the arrow function set here. Circle anim start using scale value going to double. Yes, it works. It also has some changing opacity value, made await, async, and transition. Duration 0.2. After making some scale amount, it's gonna change each opacity to 0. Yep, it's better than first one. But the problem is the circle gonna scale from the center. So I'm gonna using this E or info event value from this on tap. Check this event value. It makes usable value that I can use for changing start point. I'm gonna use this offset x value and offset y value. And change left E dot offset x and change this top value E dot offset y. I want to change this left and top without duration, so I'm gonna separate the transition with the other bracket. Yep, that's cool. This code means default duration is 0, but in the transition of the scale, it's gonna have this value. And finally, I can add this on tap to the other frame, but this one is exactly the same thing to other frame. So I will make this on tap as a function. Async function, and you can add this one and same E as the event value, and you can add this one to here. Yeah, it works same, and add this on tap to other frame. It works perfectly. I like this one. So now you can use this material button component, duplicate and change the type, making some custom text. And also it has the same styles and same interaction that we made before. And we have the one more to use this button easily. If you have a permission to access this team store, you can publish your button to your team store. So your teammate or your coworker access this component that you made very easily, and they could update, edit, or add some documentation at the same time with you. So I think it's the best tool if your team want to make some design system. I'm gonna publish this one and add name, button. I can add some simple description, choose icon and artwork, and click publish button. Yep, that's all. This component is only for your teams. That's all. Make happy coding.